Thank you for joining us for the Consultants Training Institute's Conversations with the Masters series. I am Brien Jones, and I have the honor to be joined by Peter Butler. Peter, welcome.
Nice to see you, Brien.
Thank you for sitting in the hot seat.
Yeah, look at that. Nice seat here.
Appreciate it.
The Encore.
Yeah, yes. You have been at the forefront of several pioneering research and techniques and theories over the past several years in our profession, business valuation and financial forensics. And we want to thank you for adding to the discourse of the profession and the knowledge base of the industry. And before we dive into a little bit more about your specifics and those issues, tell us where you went to school, what you studied, and how you found your path into this profession.
Yeah, good question. Kind of a roundabout way, Brien. I'm a Naval Academy graduate, so I graduated from Annapolis with a degree in mechanical engineering and served in the Navy for 8 years. I was a ship driver on board a Spruance-class destroyer, and then rolled off of her into shore duty, where I was an instructor, teaching gas turbine engineering principles and leadership principles. And while I was at that duty station, I started going to San Diego State at night to pick up my MBA with a finance concentration. And I guess that was probably the start of the entryway into the civilian world for me, and also into the world of finance, which led ultimately into private company valuation.
Annapolis graduate in the Navy. And thank you for your service. That's incredible. That's quite a leap from nautical engineering to valuation.
Good point. Yeah, I know I needed some education and some training for sure. The good part of my education, however, was, mechanical engineering is obviously quantitative by nature. And so I had that in my back pocket, so to speak, that could transfer those mathematical skills over to valuation. So that was certainly helpful. And I was always interested in the stock market. While through the Navy, I dabbled in investments and did okay on some, didn't do well on others. That's kind of the nature of the beast. But I knew I had an interest for, determining the value of companies and trying to put, my skill set, quote unquote, to work to see, if I was picking the right stocks or not. And that led to the MBA, and then ultimately my first position in the civilian world was working for a consulting company that specialized in securities class action litigation. So we were analyzing publicly traded stocks and assessing damages to a pool of class action plaintiffs. So think Enron, WorldCom, Adelphia. Okay. I didn't work on those cases, but it's kind of easy to describe. The civilian, the consuming public is familiar with those large frauds, unfortunately. And, behind the scenes, there's experts and financial analysts that have to assess those damages. So I spent about the first, 5 to 6 years of my civilian career with that firm out of San Diego before ultimately morphing into more private equity and private company valuation.
So a few years back, you had a model with a partner of yours at the time, the Butler-Pinkerton model, that caused a lot of debate and discourse in the profession. And the valuation profession is still generally a pretty young profession. And a lot of opportunity for discourse and debate and discussion as to the appropriate methodologies and approaches to valuation from the perspective of someone who was very much involved in that high-profile model. What would you consider the outcomes of that entire process and the benefits that it ultimately could have had for the profession?
Yes, excellent question, complex question. I might be biased, of course. I very much think that, first of all, I give 99% of the credit or more of total beta to Professor DeMotorin. I was trying to, like any other analyst or appraiser in the field, just trying to get a better handle on this kind of mysterious topic of the cost of capital.
Mm-hmm.
And stumbled upon Professor DeMotorin's site and stumbled upon this term total beta. It had probably been out, so to speak, for a good number of years by that point when I kind of first landed on it, maybe in 2005 or 6. And it immediately, at least to me, popped out at me like, wow, company-specific risk, total cost of equity, because prior to that particular technique and metric, the industry was left to qualitatively estimate, to put it mildly, say guess at what an appropriate company-specific risk premium might be for their subject company. And this metric provides benchmarks. Again, as we've kind of discussed off camera, that it's not perfect. No model is perfect in finance or valuation, but using George Box's quote that all models are wrong, but some are useful, and I think total beta and the commercialization of that has added some value to the industry to provide some benchmarks using publicly traded data. And of course, we're at the conference today that, it was a big debate, private or publicly traded data. And actually, in my opinion, total beta kind of bridges the gap because publicly traded data, betas and size premiums is publicly traded as if public. The data comes to us as if public. By transforming beta to total beta, that data now is as if private. As if a undiversified investor would be looking at that publicly traded stock to invest in. So therefore, I think it has a lot of comparability to what an investor or a business owner, future business owner in a privately held company is facing, which is a lot of unsystematic or idiosyncratic risk. I think it adds some value to the industry for sure. Personally, it was a good learning experience. Confidentially, I did not expect the controversy, whether real or imagined controversy related to it, because again, as we spoke today on the IPSIPL, which is a second model I'm involved with. I'm sorry, the implied private company pricing line that Bob Domeyer, Toby Tatum, and Rod Burkert and I have shared on some collaborative efforts for that. It's a new method, so what's existing in the industry today, and it's primarily the build-up method and the modified CAPM method and now total beta, at least in my opinion. So, they're all flawed. So people who kind of defend and protect the turf of say, the build-up method, I think have been unduly harsh on, say, maybe new methods that are coming up. They, in my opinion, they almost expect it to be perfect to be accepted, when right now, arguably, we have a method, the build-up method, that is somewhat problematic on a number of levels. Now, having said that, I don't want to frighten anybody away.
Sure.
We're not asking anybody to abandon the build-up method. We're not asking anybody to abandon any other method that they may like, but maybe with, say, the implied private company pricing line and also total beta, maybe there's some other tools in the proverbial toolbox that an appraiser could consider.
So what is it about taking on the challenge of not only the research and the due diligence to introduce a new methodology and approach? Most are not willing to take that risk or to take that responsibility on to challenge the profession, to offer new ideas. What is it about those concepts, or what is it in you that really gives you that desire or that passion to contribute and to offer these options to the profession?
Yeah.
Where does that come from?
That's a good question. A desire to make an impact, obviously first and foremost. And as I said, I was maybe somewhat naive 5, 6, 7 years ago. I didn't expect that I would have to, put on a full
A suit
body
of armor. Yeah.
armor suit to, what I thought was a very innovative and, creative idea to help assess company-specific risks for privately held companies. So now, having gone through it once, I think we'll go through it again, and I'm using some, say, lessons learned
Sure.
from the Butler Pinkerton calculator that we're now using with the implied private company pricing line. And a couple of those might be where in hindsight, maybe I was a little aggressive, in introducing and maybe premature in commercializing the Butler Pinkerton calculator in hindsight. So you live and learn, and we're taking our time here with the IPSIPL and passing it out for free and getting feedback, and hopefully, from that feedback we'll evolve and we'll improve. And again, it's never going to be perfect, what is, but we're interested in that feedback. Not that I'm not interested in the feedback and trying to improve Total Beta per se. And I think as I heard the critique from Total Beta, some people in the industry came to my assistance and helped me co-write. Bob Domeyer's one, Gary Sherman's another person, highly intelligent people who couldn't understand the alleged controversy and came to my aid and helped me co-write and gather my thoughts. And so I've seen the best of the profession with these collaborative efforts, and arguably I've seen some negative sides of the profession where obviously, no doubt, there's some people who have maybe some, shall we say, turf to protect and or egos to continue to stroke per se, and they've been doing it their way for a number of years. And I get it. People are, just generally human nature reluctant to change. Change is hard. Right. So we're going through it again here a little bit. So.
Yeah. Well, and the profession is evolving, and it certainly will continue to evolve. The methodologies, the approaches, the case law. There's so many factors that go into the work that you all do, and from an association perspective, our goal is to help vet those resources so that the practitioners out there obviously can find the right path to give them the tools and techniques to succeed. And on that note, we've got one of the things that we're very proud of, particularly in this year, 2014, is trying to find the best and the brightest young professionals to take the mantle from those who have established the profession, and carry it into the next generation. What advice would you have for those professionals that are coming into the profession, starting to make a name for themselves, from your perspective as a contributor, an author, a leader, a teacher? What advice would you have for those folks?
Yeah, that's another great question. Obviously, they're already emerging leaders, so it goes without question that they're already, studying, and that's a very important part, the continually learning aspect of this field. It's ever evolving, as we know, is what we're talking about, and I would continue to, recommend, and I'm sure they will, to, continue to study, work hard, and get technically proficient, which they are. And the people who are just starting, of course, obviously the designations, that's the starting point, and hopefully getting a good mentor in their firm and just asking a lot of questions and taking advantage of the experience that mentor provides on a number of different levels. And then, someday these emerging leaders, whether they're, administrative or teaching leaders or maybe thought leaders or both, if they do have a new and creative idea, to not be afraid to step up and come forward and just recognize that there'll be debate.
Sure.
And if the debate is respectful, that's what we'll be shooting for in the industry.
Right.
So.
That positive contribution. When you're not working hard and researching and writing and studying, what do you enjoy doing in your Peter Butler time?
Yeah, the Peter Butler time. Well, I'm married and have two children. They are now entering high school and middle school, which is
fun.
Simultaneously very scary.
Right.
Just enjoy, being the father and seeing them, succeed, hopefully academically and athletically. Enjoy attending. My son plays baseball, and arguably he's fairly good.
Right. That's Dad talking, or is he really good?
There's probably a little bit of dad talking, but he is
Right.
pretty good. He's a little guy with a strong arm and, and good quick hands at the
Nice.
plate. And if he ever gets a growth spurt, I think it could be interesting in Idaho in high school. I think he'll have a successful high school career. My daughter is a swimmer and a softball player,
Okay.
so she enjoys that, and we as a family enjoy. You're so busy with kids, but they'll be out of the house soon enough. Certainly,
It's coming up, yeah.
soon-to-be freshmen. So just trying to savor those moments because I recognize that time is short on a number of levels. So that's kind of what we enjoy.
Idaho's a great state. Where in Idaho is Eagle?
Eagle's a suburb of Boise,
Okay.
so kind of a Boise State fan now that we've
Sure.
lived there about
Sure.
10 years on the blue.
Sure.
So we'll see if the Naval Academy can come out and ever play there. That'd be nice.
Oh, that would be
But,
pretty cool.
Yeah.
One of my favorite places to visit in Idaho. Idaho is a beautiful, beautiful state. Is McCall.
Sure.
Oh my gosh, beautiful mountain lake, and all the recreation that's there. Are you from Idaho, native?
Actually, from Buffalo, New York area.
Okay,
Buffalo.
quite a ways.
Yeah, quite a ways. So, got the appointment to the Naval Academy, so went down to Annapolis, Maryland, and then the Navy took me out to California and was in San Diego for about 18 years before making a switch out here. At the time, my children were 4 and 1. Love San Diego, love California, but at that time in our lives, we thought a switch would be good, and have enjoyed the last decade, which is funny to say. It's gone by fast, like life does.
Right.
Have really enjoyed Idaho. Great place to raise a family,
Yeah.
as you kind of know.
Yeah.
It's not much different than Utah, probably.
Not too
So,
far from Salt Lake.
yeah.
What I like about Boise particularly is that it's got a very vibrant downtown. People wouldn't think that. I think most people have the assumption that Idaho is just a big potato field.
Yep.
No.
But
But the university that's there and the downtown area of Boise is really active. Shops, restaurants, nightlife, the university itself, great neighborhoods.
it's getting bigger every year, too. Yeah, some construction going on. And, there's some good culture going on in Boise, believe it or not. We do like our French fries, too. But,
I love French fries. It's one of my happy foods, French fries. Yeah.
I hear you.
Peter, thank you so much for
Yes.
sharing your time with us and also for contributing to this profession. It does take a brave person to step out and to push the envelope, but to offer great resources with the intention of benefiting practitioners. And for that, we thank you and look forward to further contributions from you. Also, thank you for chairing our upcoming conference this coming December in San Diego. Why don't we, before we exit this interview, tell us a little bit about with you and Nancy Fannin, chairing our Advanced Business Valuation Conference that'll be held in San Diego, some of the goals and objectives of that event.
Yes, Brian. Well, first, thanks very much. Certainly an honor to be considered here to sit in the hot seat.
Right.
So it's my pleasure to be here. Thanks very much. I'm honored to co-present, or I should say co-chair with Nancy Fannin, obviously another person who is out on the front and making major contributions to the industry. And appreciate the invite to co-chair. Looking forward to get back to San Diego in December.
Good.
I can certainly think of worse. Well, actually, there's never really a bad time to be in San
No,
Diego.
my
per
gosh,
se,
it's
but
like a perfect
December-
American city.
December, particularly if you're coming from, say, New York or something.
Right.
So.
Idaho even, December.
Yeah, very true, very true, no doubt. So that conference, we're looking to, broaden people's horizons and really go after some more detailed topics that are maybe pushing the envelope a little bit more of an advanced seminar than is being presented here. We believe that the lineup will be certainly quite solid with some solid speakers, and happy to announce that the implied private company pricing model will be part and parcel of that presentation. So Bob Domar was very excited when I told him that we would get a chance again to go into much more detail there than we had today at the hour point. So
Good. Well, we'll be here before you know it.
Yes,
Yeah.
it goes by quick.
Again, Peter,
So-
thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
My pleasure, Brian. Thanks very much.
And we'll see you in the next installment of the Industry Master Series. Thank you for joining us.